kind of kicked in, and yeah, I was worried that because founders they have this natural fear of people challenging them. So it's when Michael asked me about, oh, have you taken a look at a Circles project? So if one thinks positively, then you would think that, oh, Michael is suggesting a possible opportunity. But if mind is tired of negative things, negative. Yeah, so I lost it, and it helped me reflect on my fears. And one of the fears is that, yeah, because I did this project twice before, and I didn't manage it very well. So for the project, so, it's always in the founder's fear that people will leave and things will happen, but it's part of the deal. And also the camera view and call quality. I guess that's why it really helps me with your. I feel really safe with your hands. So this is what I want to ask. And when you ask for my opinion about the Circles project, what kind of information did you seek, or did you just want to hear my opinion?
Oh yeah, I just wanted to hear your opinion because, of course, I've been doing a lot of research, so I ran across that website, and I thought some parts were similar. One thing was very different, which was the trust thing that they came up with, which is like Alice trusts Bob and Bob trusts Carol, and it creates a chain. And I thought that was interesting. Maybe something we can use. And also the UBI idea is a little bit related, but different. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Well, you heard my thoughts. They were a little bit, they were mixed with negative emotions, but today I can be more neutral. So it's, yeah. So I mean, in short, I feel like UBI is related to a bigger solution, bigger set. One piece of the puzzle of our current situation. And I have to say this because I honestly believe that just by giving people money, free money, it won't solve the problem. That's one of my convictions. I mean, it could work if it's coupled with other solutions, but the question is always to find the most elegant solution. And that could work, but we have a more elegant solution.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Your video froze, but I can still hear you.
All right. Let me try to restart my camera. Yeah, my video.
Okay, yeah, you're going away.
I like your music. The background music is very soothing.
Yeah.
Okay, let me try a different USB. Well, yeah, sometimes I'm not sure that it happens to people, but when my video is running, other people's videos stop, I just feel nervous. Does it happen to you, or is?
I don't know if it happens to me. The video, because my video is always in a little box. I see myself always moving.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't think my video camera will start working anytime soon. Would you like to just record it?
Okay. So we'll just have audio.
Yes.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I that's what I want to say about the Circles project, and also we could talk more about the Circles project within the Holacracy framework, because Holacracy helps us to figure out what to do next about that project. Okay, so
yes.
So would you like to take over the meeting for the second part?
Okay, sure. Okay. Let me read the. So we have. Okay. Okay, so let's get into the tactical meeting. I see we have agenda items.
Yep.
Heading from before. So let's. Yeah, let's. Okay, let's get into the last pass.
Yep. So LastPass is a password, online password sharing solution. It works on Chrome. I'm not sure whether it works on, you use Mozilla?
Usually, I use Firefox mostly, sometimes Brave and some others.
Okay. I'm not sure whether, let me just Google whether LastPass works on Firefox. Oh yeah, I think it does work.
Okay.
So because for the website hosting Bluehost, I just sent you a blank password, and I think the best practice to use a password manager like Passwords. That will prevent passwords flying around.
Okay, I will see if I can get Pass installed and let you know.
Okay, sounds good. Let me hold on, let me just add that to your next actions on your Asana.
Okay.
Okay, I have done that. And may I just chime in that? So before the, may I just remind the facilitator for part 2. Before we start our governance and tactical meeting, if we could update our next actions on Asana, that will as process our next action. So if we could just update our next actions on Asana.
So I see, I'm just looking on Asana at the moment.
Yep.
So I see new tasks and also upcoming. Is there, do you know what the difference is between those?
Upcoming is a category Asana automatically generates or creates for new tasks. So you can safely ignore that.
Oh, so when it has been added, then it appears as upcoming.
Yes, sometimes. And I'm unsure how it does that. So.
Oh, okay. I'll just ignore that.
Yep.
Let me look at the projects that we have on Asana and see if there are any updates. Okay, so on the blockchain training curriculum, it's as it was before, so no updates on that.
Yep.
And how about the Circles project? Fully understood.
No updates.
Okay. All right.
And sorry, I can't see your video, so if the facilitator could please also include the administrative concerns and the closing round, that would be good, so that we know the meeting will last.
Yes.
To reflect on the meeting at the end.
Yes, yes. Yes, so I'm in the Starbucks again, so I'll be leaving in about 40 minutes later.
Okay.
About 8:55.
Okay. I'll be able to stay till then.
Okay. Okay, so our next agenda item, the last class, we have 2 more. So let's go to number 3. This is from the lead link.
Yes. So we have a new role called the feedback guy. We'll collect feedback from the community on our project. And Michael was mentioned. Michael proposed us to have a role collecting feedback, but I'm unsure whether Michael wants to fill this role himself or not. So I'm asking Michael, would you like to fill this role or?
Yes, I think this is a role that could be filled maybe by a marketing person later on, but for now I think I would like to fill the role.
Okay, please, secretary, please update this on Glassrock and give me 1 second, please.
Okay.
Okay, I have just added you to the role feedback guy.
Okay.
Just as the lead link, I just want to mention that under Holacracy, all the people, they can leave their roles without just like at any time. So it's
okay.
In Holacracy, we have the power to find the roles that best fit us. So.
Okay, let me just look at Glassrock and see if I can see this. Okay. Yeah, that looks good.
Yep.
All right. Okay, so let's move on to 2 here. Thoughts on UBI? This is from the lead link.
Yep. So, yeah, may I ask, because Michael or the Yoda, you proposed the lead link to look at the Circles project. Tell me more about your which you were looking for. Maybe that will help me give you the information you are looking for.
Okay. Well, I think there were probably 2 things. The first thing is that I thought it was a closely related project in some ways, so something we should be aware of.
Yep.
And then the second thing was I think the UBI idea is a very interesting one.
Good. Yep. Okay.
And I think if I were to describe action to somebody else, they would probably say, "Oh, it sounds a little bit like Universal Basic Income."
Yeah. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Okay. All right. In that case, yeah. Let me see if I can explain explain my view on UBI.
Okay.
So yeah, the first is that I'm just chopping everything I want to say into different little pieces. So the first is that the idea of an universal income it still borrows from the idea of ownership and money. So it still exists within the ownership framework. So this is why it's subjected to the effects of ownership. For example, yeah, it's a belief system within a belief system. But when people introduce universal basic income, what they are trying to say is, this system, our belief system of money ownership, is breaking the society. We need to do something about it. And when they introduce universal basic income, they are actually coming from a perspective of like religious or humanitarian perspective or idealism perspective. But unfortunately, I think universal basic income, they're still trying to cling to the idea that we have to use money to solve the problem that money creates. So to me, it's this concept is shooting itself in the foot. So that's my criticism. So that's the first thing I want to say. Do you want to comment on that, or do you want me to go on?
Well, I'm curious about that because it seems like action is not money, but it's we are probably building it on some sort of a system of tokens or something.
Yeah.
So if it can be, well, to me it seems like if it can. The key idea of money is that it's a way to influence people's behavior. So if
sorry to interrupt you, I lost what you just said. The key of money is.
Yeah, I think it's a way to influence people's behavior.
Yes.
So in that way, Axiom should also be a way, because it is a way, maybe an alternative way of kind of keeping score, if you will.
Yes.
So it would also be a kind of way of influencing people's behavior.
You're absolutely right. Money is a way to influence our collective behavior, because we have to, in order for us to live together and work together and interact together, we need systems such as money, among others. And action, in a way, action itself it borrows ideas from equality. Like equality is a religious idea, and so the philosophy behind action is to build a new way of thinking, is to infuse a new way of thinking into the society. And it does that by trying to create an orthogonal, like, we have our coordinate system, X, Y, and Z, right? So X is orthogonal to Y. So
Yes.
yeah, they're at right angle. So the idea is to build a value system that's at a right angle to our monetary value system. And with that, how can I explain this? It's if X and Y, they're coupled together, we can't describe all the things we want to describe on the coordinate system. We need like oh man, do you kind of see what I'm trying to say, or?
Yes, I think I know what you mean by orthogonal. That this will be an alternative way of influencing people's behavior that will be distinct from the monetary system.
Yes, yes, yeah. That's exactly right. Yes. So,
Okay.
yeah, the idea is to build something different and distinct to influence people's behavior. And it comes back like, at the end of the day, we don't need money or action or anything else. It's not a necessity. Action is not a must-have, nor is anything else in life. It's just a solution to our existing problems, let's say. Yeah.
Okay, I think I can understand what you're saying. I think this will be interesting to try to communicate this as part of the project to other people. I think it will be a difficult challenge for the marketing people.
Yeah. Yes.
But I like this idea of having an orthogonal system that influences people's behavior separately from the monetary system.
Yeah, that's good to know.
And of course, separately also from the other systems that also exist already that are also behavior modification systems like tradition and so on.
Yeah. Yeah, we have other systems like religion is one. People go to churches and they help each other realize that life is more than living in a big house, owning expensive cars, And the way they do that is through a lot of sermons and community building. So action does this by it's almost saying it's borrowing ideas from religion, saying we are equal, but at the same time, it also looks at what makes money so strong, because money, first of all, it's universal. It's everywhere in the world, people use money. It doesn't matter what currency we use; we can exchange these currencies. And, religion is more difficult. It takes longer for people to kind of get on the same page if they were Muslim or Christian. So action tries to borrow the strength from both systems by being universal. So saying everyone's life is equal. He also borrows the strength of money in that it's quantifiable. We can count it, and that's what makes it so interesting. In religion, it's very difficult for a person to tell how devoted he is or someone else is. But with action, you can count it. And the third strength of money is that it's very easy to use. The transaction it's very easy. We can use it every day. It takes longer to have a religious conversation. So with action, helpful others. We should be able to make it easy to use as well.
Okay, I'm taking some notes. Okay, please go on.
Okay. Next one is So on the idea of universal basic income, it's like, so if we imagine what we can do to help our society advance, there are a set of ways to do that. So first is that we can encourage property and information sharing. So because our production capability has far exceeded our consumption capabilities. We like in China, we have more houses than there are people. So we're trying to solve the problem of how to share information, useful information, how to share useful property. And to me, that universal basic income will have a hard time dealing with that. Rather, actually more an upvote system will help that. So when we share our property, we encourage people who receive these gifts or this useful information on this property to upvote us. That's the cycle. That's the cycle. While universal basic income is probably only applies to the very poor and to the very rich. An upvote system you can apply to everybody as long as it helps them to reflect on the good things they encounter. It helps them to reflect on their thoughts, and belief and emotions. So it's a way to help people look into themselves, like as if they are meditating. Okay. So that's the difference.
Okay, now when you say coupled with other challenges such as property and information sharing, in what way is that different between UBI and action?
Okay. Okay. So universal basic income, it's the minimum amount of money that will give people. But if we think of the framework of ownership, the ownership is a competitive game. It's a competitive game. What that means is that if someone else has more money than I do, he has a higher social standing. Right? So even if I get universal basic income to sustain my very basic needs, it makes no sense for him to share advanced information with me. It's just saying, as long as I don't starve to death, I'm okay. And it's basically the next level of enslavement. Yeah, it's we have to have slaves, but we can't have them starve to death because they do something useful. Rather, if we have an upvote, my needs will change. So once I can feed myself, the pyramids of needs will start to change. Maybe I'll seek more. Like I want to travel, but my universal basic income will not be able to help me with that. Rather, if we have an upvote system, I will definitely upvote those that will help me to travel in many different ways. They can give me information on the best places to go, or they can help me to connect with the best agencies. An upvote system, it does much more than just giving people free money to spend, a minimum amount of money to spend. That's the challenge. That's the difference. And if we really think about this, if we really look at our current society, there are so many car makers. And why do we have so many car makers? It's because, first of all, the car makers, they're trying to fill different market segment. Second, but they each have their own proprietary patents and development team. But if we really look at the system, it makes more sense for them to share with each other their technology. That will lessen the overall costs, and also help us build better cars. And but our monetary system works against that because it's a competitive system. We have to keep information to ourselves, enough information to ourselves, so we stay ahead of the pack, because that says we are better than them. It's a competitive model. But upvote, if we have an upvote system built into this, it encourages information sharing, because if we share information with others, they will give us, or they will upvote us, and in return, that will also kind of boost our social standing, but not just within the monetary framework. So it's like it kind of encourages information sharing.
Okay.
This kind of little bit.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Okay. The question of competitiveness raises another question for me, which is something that stuck in my mind when you were talking about travel.
Yeah.
So if I want to travel, maybe I want to go to Europe, then I would need to pay for my trip.
Yeah.
Now, the way that sort of exchange works is that maybe a tour company or airline or whatever it is will say, okay, this is how much this is going to cost.
Yeah.
And then I have to give them their money.
Yeah.
So if I give them less, or I say, well, I don't want to pay, then they will say, well, then you don't get to travel.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if something like this will happen with action as well. If people would at some point say that the cost of this favor that I'm about to do for you, or the cost of something that I'm going to do for you, is specified in action marks.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think that would kind of go against the idea, but it's something that people might think to do.
I see what you're saying. So the basic theory of supply and demand always holds. So it will be likely that if a demand for a particular, say, a seat on an airplane is high, the airline may demand more money and action marks. However, the airline may demand action marks, but because action is it works completely different than money. When we give someone money, we can't get it back, right? Because it's ownership transfer. We transfer the ownership and no longer controls the asset or property. But action is not. It doesn't represent ownership. It represents the increase of value in one's life. So it represents the perceived increase of pleasure or life experience. So an airline can impose say, we have 10 empty seats, and we'll give these empty seats to those people who are willing to give us 10 action marks in return for each. They can do that within their power. However, the game of action, one of its rules says that action is a feedback system. What that means is that the good action has to happen before the reward occurs. So one of the rules in action is designed to do that by saying, after we give others upvotes, the owner always reserves the right to nullify his upvote. So, for example, if the airline gives me a free seat, and it turns out to be a really bad experience, maybe there are worms under the seat, maybe there is something unpleasant. But so after the offer, I can nullify, I can destroy the action marks I send out. So yeah, so
okay.
Yeah, so that's the
okay. Okay. All right. Then that there would be no such thing as credit with a system like this also.
What do you mean by credit?
Well, I mean, like someone can loan money to
Exactly.
somebody else to do something, and then with the expectation of getting interest.
Yes, exactly correct. Because loaning or credit, they are still based on the idea of ownership. We have to own some stuff, some things to be able to give to someone else, and they can do something with it.
Yes.
But actually, it's not based on ownership.
Okay. All right. Okay, please go on.
Okay. So I'd like to talk to E first. Point E. So so on my trip, I went to the Gui province in China, and they have this very primitive culture. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. But what's happening right now is capitalism and market forces are and foreign cultures, foreign ideas are eroding that primitive culture. So the young people in that culture, they want to earn more money. They want to go to the city, and that in a way is destroying the culture. I'm not saying that we should preserve all the primitive cultures. To me, it feels like the system can evolve in a more harmonious way, because I've been to Europe and to America, and I see beautiful places in Europe. And somehow they have preserved that their history. They still have their culture, and at the same time, they fuse it with modern technology. So to me, if we just give primitive people money, we're effectively saying we don't value your culture. You need to take this money from us so you can live a better life according to our standards. So to me, it's very short-sighted, and that's another reason why I think so basic income it's fundamentally flawed in its understanding of society. So yeah. Sorry for that rambling, but
okay, I'm interested in that. So if one of the things that stuck out for me is if you're saying like people want to leave these cultures because they want to make more money. So
yeah.
I'm kind of wondering how would action relate to that? How would that affect people's desire to people who are living in a more primitive culture? How would that affect their desire to have a better life?
One example is that the young girls, the young women that dressed up in their silver ornaments, and they were having parades, and they get paid by going to these parades, even though it's part of their culture to go to these parades, because these women they are starting to go to cities, and it makes more sense for them to stay in the cities than go back to their home and participate in this festival. Mm-hmm. So it's the government's incentive to preserve their culture by paying those young women to go back to their homes. So you see, we already have some sort of universal basic income. The government incentivizes people to do that. On the other hand, what if because we have so many tourists, right? And those tourists don't pay these girls. They don't pay these girls. But if we have an upvote system, and if they upvote these girls they see who go to those festivals, it makes more sense for these girls to go to festivals because their competitive cultural advantage. If they participate in these festivals, they can gain many more actions than if they go to cities to earn money. It's so it encourages, it balances out the force of ownership and money or this economic force. It's a balancing force. Yeah. So because after we work hard in the city and we lead our lives there, at the end of the day, all we want is have a really quiet and piece of land and just live happily with our family, enjoy the nature, right? But at the same time, our industrial force is destroying that kind of part of our life. So it reminds me of Blade Runner. So yeah, so does this make sense or a little bit?
It does, but I'm wondering if they're doing it for money, then of course that within the ownership society that we live in, that's useful right now because I can use it to buy bread. But
the thing
if
is,
they are, you see where I'm going.
The thing is they have enough bread. What they do not have is the extra experience. They want to give more money so that they can have this extra experience. But what action does is what action is saying is that we don't have to have money to have this extra experience, because by seeking money we are destroying many things. Because money, the monetary system, the ownership system has its flaws. So it's all we want actually in life. If I can choose between money and experience, I will forgo money and I will choose experience. So that's the idea. Money enables us to have experience, to have comfort, to have safety, but it's not a necessity. Money is not a necessity for us to do that. And so those tribes, they've been living their culture for thousands of years. They live in harmony with the nature. They have enough bread to feed themselves. Rather, it's those people that live on the streets of modern city that they may have a hard time. So yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, maybe when we think about universal basic income, when I think about it, an image flashes into my mind. So it's war refugees, they can't feed themselves. People sleeping on the street because they can't feed themselves. These are like the surface problem. They are the symptoms. They are the symptoms. They are not the cause of the problem. But by applying a universal basic income, we're only treating the symptoms. We're not targeting the cause of these problems. So that's the difference, in my opinion. It's like a code. We have a bug in the code, and the program crashes, and we're trying to take a screenshot before the program crashes, or to try to treat the system rather than go into the bugs and to fix the bug. So.
Okay. All right, that does make sense.
Yeah.
I need to think about this some more.
Yeah. Okay.
I think the question for me with that is that I keep trying to sort of see Action as a replacement for money, but it's like you said, something orthogonal. So
yes.
I don't have the habit of thinking of how that would.
Yeah.
I guess we don't know until we do the experiment how that will affect people's behavior.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's as you said, it's an orthogonal system. It's a counterpart. It's a counterweight.
Hmm. Okay. All right. Okay, let's go on.
Yeah. Okay. So the circle. Yeah. I think the biggest challenge with circles, the project is, or with universal basic income, is how to figure out a good amount of the amount of basic income people receive, because that's dynamic, and it changes with time, because people's needs change. A basic level, the definition of a basic survival also changes.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but in contrast, for action, it's different because action, it gives people the options to define for themselves what's most important to them. So, for example, if someone cannot feed himself, but at the same time, he doesn't feel like getting more food is necessary, then he can upvote other stuff rather than use this money. But it's maybe that's not a good analogy. But basically, once needs shifts from bread to other stuff, that's what I'm trying to say. So it's and it allows even the richest of the rich to because if someone's rich, he still likes stuff, right? But if we give him universal basic income, it's useless to him. If we give him a way to upvote the things he likes, he can still use these upvotes. So to me, universal basic income is very narrow. It's a narrow solution, and an upvote system, or it's more, everyone can use it. Yeah. So.
Okay. All right. Now, I think when I looked at the Circle's information, they have not really addressed the question of inflation, but I think their project is at a more early stage.
Yeah.
But it looks like they will have something like they will give somebody, every participant will get a certain amount of their token automatically every day or every minute, something like that. So then I think the value of that would have to stabilize according to some external factors.
Yeah, I just want to quickly comment on that. So when people build systems, one of the assumptions is that people assume they can build a perfect system that stays the same over time. In my opinion, the world that we live in is not a Newtonian world. It's things change, like quantum. Have you heard of quantum mechanics?
Yes, sure.
So the world we live in is constantly evolving and changing, and we can't predict what will happen. And if we predict what will happen, it will change. It will disrupt our prediction. So it's when people trying to set algorithms to forecast inflation, it won't work. It's the same as we can't predict market or we can't predict the weather for an extended period of time. So any model that people come up with inflation may work at the beginning, but they have to maintain it the long term, and so that just makes the universal. It just complicates universal basic income a lot more than simple ideas. So.
Okay, I think we have a few minutes left. So, do you want to carry on the Circle, or? We have about 8 minutes left before I need to leave.
What would you prefer?
Let's spend a few more minutes on Circle, and then we can have a closing round.
Okay, sounds good. Please, just interrupt me whenever you need to.
Okay.
Yeah. So the next is adoption. So you mentioned this last time that. And I can't simulate it in my head. Maybe the founders of Circle, they have a better model for this. So basically, how do they build a prototype? Because someone has to pay for the universal basic income. And in my opinion, it's like if no one uses it, it's not going to do anything. And it's only if everyone uses it, it will have its effect. Same with action. Although action is different in that action can start small. You can start with 1 or 2 users. So the universal basic income, I guess it could work for 2 people. One is the donor, the other is the recipient. But yeah, but it's but that just makes it charity. It's no different from charity that we already have. So I don't know. Yeah.
Yes. One thing, my understanding of Circle, the way it works is like actually nobody is paying for it, which is one of the things. I think it's similar to Action in this way. I think they're the same in this way.
Yeah.
So it's like the people that are are participating in that are naturally like creating the currency. So just like we naturally create action marks just by being a part of the system. So, but in their system, the tokens have no value. They have no exchange rate with real money. So so it's like so it's a bit similar in that way to Action. I think that these things are created from a vacuum, as it were.
Yes.
But there's nobody like redeeming them. There's nobody buying them back.
Yeah.
So that means that nobody has to pay for it in their system as well. But it also means that it has no monetary value at the beginning until it, like you say, until everybody is using it. So
then because that's the contradiction. For it to have non-monetary value, it can't be money. But right now it's some form of money, so it has to have some monetary value, but it doesn't, which means that it's not going to work. It's still money, basically. They have just complicated this process for it to look like something else. I'm not saying, I'm not criticizing them. I'm just point this. It's a system design. It's how the system is designed. It doesn't make sense to me. So.
That's fair enough.
Yeah. So I hate criticizing people. It's but I have to do it. Yeah. So, I'm not criticizing people. I'm criticizing the system design. So it's.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Well, I need to leave in a few minutes. So let's have a short closing round.
Okay. Do you want to go first or you go first? Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
I feel meditation pays off, so I'm constantly monitoring my thoughts, and it helps our meeting, and also our facilitator is getting better and better every meeting. Yeah, very good.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I think I'm having a lot of fun with Holacracy. I just wanted to say that. So I think last night I was thinking about it, and I think it's definitely a challenge that I keep finding new ways to challenge myself with it. So, but it's a lot of fun. I feel like I'm learning something from this. So from the practice of Holacracy itself. So I think it's good.
Good.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right. See you next week. Have a good weekend. Right.
Okay. You too.